pledge
This
allegiance
conference will now be recorded.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico and the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. First item is approval of the agenda, and I would like to ask that we have unanimous consent on the consent agenda, and I would make the motion to approve our agenda and unanimous consent of the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve this evening's agenda. And
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, may I have discussion?
yes, you may.
Okay, I did hear your remarks at the beginning of the meeting, but I still need clarification about how we can have this meeting without a sworn clerk in attendance. The last meeting was adjourned when this governing body did not approve your recommendation to appoint Ms. Tracy Sweat as clerk treasurer. And I don't know if we have legal counsel there tonight. I would like her opinion on whether or not we should hold this meeting without a sworn clerk.
We do have legal counsel here, and I would love to have her weigh in on where we're at.
Good evening, counselors. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So as Mr. Abrams, Mayor Pro Tem, stated, we do not have a sworn clerk or treasurer as required by the statutes of the state of New Mexico. However, after much consideration and some more legal research on this topic, we believe that there is a properly appointed interim deputy clerk who can serve as the secretary for this meeting. And we felt that it was imperative to have this meeting in order to address the action item that is listed as item number 4 on the agenda. There is a question whether this is a proper meeting that can be held under the current circumstances. However, given the kind of dire circumstances, we wanted to conduct the meeting knowing that that risk was there.
Another question. Ms. Nixon, you did state that we have an appointed clerk or deputy clerk. Does that have to be approved by the governing body, however?
She is serving, the interim deputy clerk is serving in that interim capacity. And for that reason, the interim appointment is within the purview of the Mayor Pro Tem. So we don't need her approval. She will remain as a non-exempt employee for the town of Edgewood. And as you'll see in the proposed resolution on action item number 4, that appointment is with the signer authority is intended to last from today's date through the 31st of December this year.
And one last question. You say deputy clerk, so who is she deputy to, since we don't have a clerk?
She is deputy to no one because we don't have a clerk. She is filling those job duties that were filled by the previously appointed clerk and deputy clerk, and she is serving, again, in that interim capacity only.
All right, thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you, Councilor Holly.
Councilor Hearn.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, councilors, and Ms. Nixon. I just wanted to mention that I did call DFA and confirm what we've already talked about in the past, and that is that many municipalities do not have a clerk, or sometimes there are positions that remain open for an extended period of time. And of course, the governing body does have the authority to hold meetings. It is unreasonable to think that an open position would prevent a governing body from leading and running the town. So it's perfectly fine It is perfectly fine for governing body members to meet. The clerk is not necessary in practice. So I just wanted to confirm that, and that has happened in many municipalities. It's not just Edgewood, and fortunately for us, this is, you know, right now anyway, is just a short period of time where other local governments have gone very long periods of time without someone in that position. So as well on the checks, I also verified that, and that is not an issue. So
DFA, who was it at DFA that told you it was not an issue?
I talked to one of the local government specialists at DFA.
Okay, so you don't have it.
Yeah, definitely. I can give that to you in an email if you'd like, and you can speak to him yourself. I'm sure if you have other questions, he would be happy to answer them.
Okay, I just know for myself, I was actually in this position back in 2016 with the change of administration. We had some resignations at that time. The clerk, I think it was a clerk at the time, the clerk had retired and I was asked to be the interim clerk, and I did have to go before the governing body. I was questioned by the governing body and they did have a vote to approve that appointment. So I'm just looking for some solid legal ground here.
Yeah, I understand. I think perhaps the difference here, and you guys feel free to jump in, but it could be because that Monet is already an employee, and the mayor, the acting mayor, has the ability to appoint temporary employees under our personnel policy. And so that could be the reason why he's, in other words, since she's already an employee and she's not a new appointment, that's why, and it's temporary, that's why she doesn't perhaps have to be approved by the governing body. Something we could certainly do if you think that we need to.
Well, it's not on the agenda, so we can't do it tonight.
Right, but I'm just saying if that was something you wanted to do. But he has the authority to appoint, you know, deputies and appoint temporary employees.
Can we move on with the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda? We have a motion and a second, council. And I would like it if we could vote. We can discuss this further if we should need to. Do I hear any more comment on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Councillor Abraham?
Aye.
Councillor Jaramillo?
Aye.
Councillor Holly?
I'm going to have to vote no since we have no sworn clerk.
And because I so badly need the signatories for several things, I'm going to vote yes, and we will move on to public comment. And we have quite a good number of callers here, so what I will do is I will go down the list. If you wish to comment on the action item that we have before us, that is what we are discussing this evening. If you do not wish to, you may just say, no, I don't wish to comment. I will unmute each caller and ask that you identify yourself. First caller is caller 1. Caller 1, do you wish to speak to the item, the action item on our agenda? Caller 1? I hear no one at caller 1. Let's unmute caller number 2. If you could identify yourself and if you wish to speak
Cheryl Hupperts, I do not wish to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Hupperts. And caller number 3, if you could unmute caller number 3, please. Caller number 3, if you could identify yourself, please. Caller number 3, do you wish to speak? I guess we have no one at caller number 3 who wishes to speak. Let's move on to caller number 4. Caller number 4, if you would identify yourself if you wish to speak.
This is Jerry Powers, and I'd like to speak.
Mr. Powers, go right ahead.
Yeah, I know this is on the topic of appointing signatories, and that was, of course, necessitated by the fact that the employees have kind of, several have quit, the clerk, the deputy clerk, et cetera. I noticed that at the meeting last night at the P&Z that the entire board resigned early. And I think it just shows a tremendous disrespect for the people of Edgewood to abandon these positions before there can be a transition to the new form of government. I know that the P&Z actually said that they're resigning because they disapprove of the new form of government, which was voted in by a supermajority of the voters. So to openly defy the will of the people by leaving them in the lurch, there's nobody to process applications for land use or anything like that at this point in time, if it requires P&Z approval. So I just want to say that there are cultures that develop in companies and in groups and in government bodies. That culture is usually from the top down, and it's a matter of the culture that is allowed to form, and you get the culture in a body like that that you put up with. So I just want to say I'm disappointed in the fact that these kind of actions are necessitated tonight on an interim basis because of this abandonment. And it's obvious to me that the people that were serving in these positions, if they were there to serve the people, they would have not put the town in this kind of position. They were obviously there because they had a certain agenda. When that agenda is no longer going to happen, the town is going to be served by the will of the people. When the new commission comes in, it's going to be a unilateral or multilateral kind of commission where the will of the people will be reflected in the actions of the government. So I just want to say it's an important learning moment for us with regard to the kind of service that is allowed to happen.
Mr. Powers, that's your 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caller number 5, you have been unmuted. Do you wish to identify yourself and speak to the item this evening?
Is this me?
Yes, that's you.
Oh, okay, sorry. Mary Parker, and I do not have a comment on this subject. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Parker. Next, we have Jem NM. Hello, Jem NM.
This is Linda Burke. No, I have no comment on tonight's action item.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. Next, we have John Moses. You unmute Mr. Moses, please. Mr. Moses, you might be able to unmute yourself if you wish to speak.
No comment, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moses. Mr. Kenneth Brennan?
No comment at this time, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Leota Harriman? No? No. Oh, there we go. Ms. Harriman? Do you wish to speak to this? I hear no comment from Ms. Harriman. Okay, so far that would be all of the callers and
I
those.
think, Mayor Pro Tem, that caller number 6 arrived while we were talking.
Okay, well, we can unmute caller number 6 and see if they wish to speak. Caller number 6, you are unmuted. Do you?
Yes, this is Sterling Donner. Yes, I would like to speak.
Okay, Mr. Donner.
First off, thank you guys for allowing me to talk tonight. I'm very disappointed with the P&Z that they decided to.
Mr. Donner, Mr. Donner, this is public comment with regard to the action item on our agenda, the resolution before the board. If you wish to speak to that, please.
I do. I think Audrey should be the one that has that. That should be the one that's able to do that. And good riddance to the P&Z. We'll replace them with someone better.
Okay. I guess, is that? All right.
That's all I had. Thanks.
I guess that's it from Mr. Donner. Thank you. The action item, discussion, consideration, and action on resolution number 2021-19, a resolution regarding signatory authorities on all Town of Edgewood accounts and other official acts. Council, you have before you a resolution that would allow signatory to the interim deputy clerk and myself. It's very self-explanatory. I don't know if we need too awful much discussion of this, but we definitely need to accomplish this evening. And I would like to make the motion to approve resolution number 2021-19. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. Councillor Abraham.
Aye.
Councillor Holly.
Again, I'll vote no since we have no sworn clerk.
Councillor Jaramillo.
Aye.
I will vote aye as well so that we can pay our bills. Resolution 2021-19 passes. Matters from the councilors. Councillor Jaramillo.
Yes, I did want to ask if the will of the council, as far as if you guys are willing to have a workshop. I think I saw an email come out on the cannabis ordinances, and so I'm going to try to, it's very, very, very busy season for me right now. I will try to attend. I think it's next week, the 4th, that the league is putting on something on that. But I think that we do need to meet prior to our next meeting. So I wanted to find out from you all if that was something you wanted to do.
Mayor Pro Tem, this is Jessica Nixon, if I may.
Yes, Ms. Nixon.
Thank you, Councillor Jaramillo. There was an email that you all should have received this morning from the interim P&Z administrator, Mr. Dvorak, regarding the New Mexico Municipal League training on the Cannabis Regulation Act that is being hosted on November 4th. And given that it is a busy season for everyone involved, Councillor Jaramillo, as well as the other members of the governing body, I would encourage members of this governing body to attend that workshop if they would like that information. And otherwise, given some of the feedback that was received, I believe it was at our last meeting about leaving matters to the commission that is to be elected November 2nd and take office on January 1st. Leave that decision regarding any regulation or ordinances that the town wishes to pass to that new governing body when they take office. But that workshop should be helpful.
And maybe the workshop will clarify, but I thought I had understood that any changes that we needed to make as a governing body were supposed to be before that statute or whatever it was that was passed by the legislature takes effect in January. But I don't know all the details. I just thought that we had to do something prior to law being put in place.
And Councilor Jaramillo, it is very confusing the way that law is written, but it is different stages that different parts of that act come into effect. And so at this stage, presently, after September 1st, the state of New Mexico began approving licenses for cannabis producers, and the scheduled time frame is next spring for licenses for cannabis retailers. So there's not really a January 1 type of deadline that anyone is under. Those are just when the licenses will begin to be issued by the state. And I imagine that the workshop next week hosted by the Municipal League will give a little bit more clarification and direction on that subject specifically.
Okay, thank you. That helps. As far as operations, I just wanted to offer my support with anything that the administration may need, and just encourage you all, the staff, and thank you for all of your hard work during this interim period of time. And if there's anything at all that you need, I'm sure the governing body members would be there in a heartbeat to help with anything. So I know that we pay the acting mayor to be the CEO and to run the town, and that is his accepted role for all of this, leadership of the staff, ensuring that everything is done, and it is a lot of work. And so I just wanted to offer my support for anything that may need to be done, even on the financial side as well, if there's any questions. Let's see, what else did I have? I still wanted to find out if we were doing any ceremony for veterans, as we have been planning for a while now. That hasn't happened. And what else is going on here that was on my mind? The trunk or treat. The trunk or treat is on the 30th, right? And I reposted the PD's notice on that, and sounds like it should be a good event. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you guys,
Thank you.
all of you online and who called in as well.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Abraham.
I just wanted to say a couple things. I also want to thank our staff who are stepping up to do additional duties to get us through these last few months. I do plan on attending the cannabis workshop, even though I will not be in office on January 1st, but I will still be supporting our communities. I did ask Tim today if he could send that information out to all of the commission candidates so that they can also participate, since they will be the ones impacted come January 1st. Next,
Councilor Abraham, if I may, sorry, Mayor Pro Tem, if I may.
Yes, you may.
So I did talk with Tim about that request that you just explained, Councilor Abraham, and I would like permission from this governing body to pose that question to the New Mexico Municipal League before inviting the commissioner-elects to attend that workshop. I don't want to extend an invitation that is not open to them. So if the governing body is okay with me asking the Municipal League if the future commissioners are welcome to attend the workshop that's hosted by the Municipal League, I am happy to pose that question to them, but I don't want to extend an invitation before we have permission from the Municipal League who is hosting that event.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
I don't see any reason that, we shouldn't at least ask.
I'm in agreement.
We've got an agreement on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, I wanted to say that I'd also gotten an email from the Lions Club. There's going to be a food drive going on by them. And so, it's that time of year where we start gathering for the holidays. I am not really interested in having any additional meetings in the month of November or December if we can avoid it. I'm kind of winding down and I'm happy to do so. The next thing is there is an election on Tuesday. Early voting is going on now. I think we need to get the word out. I didn't see anything on the town website and I didn't see anything on the electronic signs. And I feel like that's a very important issue to be advertising right now.
Can we do that, Mayor Pro Tem?
I will see what we can do. We've kind of become slightly shorthanded, as you might imagine. So, our county clerk has advertised our election, I think, fairly thoroughly. But I can ask to see if someone can modify the sign for us in the next day or so. I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all I have for tonight. Thanks.
And Councillor Holly.
Okay, just adding a few more details to Councillor Abraham's announcement. We all did receive an email from Mr. Scott, the first vice president of the Lions Club, announcing the food drive that they will be sponsoring. And this will be for the East Mountain Food Pantry. And it'll be held on Saturday, November 13th at Smith's from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. So I just wanted to add those details for you. And I thought for myself, good way to remember, Saturday after Veterans Day, they'll be at Smith's collecting for the food pantry. Thank you, that's all.
And I don't really have much of anything since we accomplished what we needed to, I believe, this evening. I'll reiterate, the Town of Edgewood's Trunk or Treat is October 30th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That will be, I believe, here at the Town Hall in front. Book Barn Sale is November 13th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I would like to discuss regular council meeting. I would love to entertain Sherry, your Councillor Abraham's idea about curtailing meetings, since I seem to have heard that the council doesn't seem to want to make any decisions on things and leave things to the new governing board when they take office. I will entertain some discussion of that because I'd like to hear what the council has to say.
On my part, Mayor Pro Tem, I wasn't even in favor of canceling the meetings in August and September. For me, I think we need to be doing the business of the people, and if that takes meeting every week, if it takes, whatever it takes, I think that we have the responsibility to meet, especially as is stated in our operating resolution, which is the second and fourth meetings of the month, or sorry, Wednesdays of the month, and we just need to make that a priority. I think what Councillor Abraham was saying is that she didn't want like extra meetings, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, Councillor Jaramillo, the second meeting in November falls the day before Thanksgiving, and I don't think, well, I know what I'm going to be doing the day before Thanksgiving, which is cooking. So at least for the November timeframe, and perhaps even December, because I believe the second meeting in December falls a day or so right there at Christmas. So at least the next regular council meeting I would propose to be on November 17th. And we have one meeting in the month of November and one perhaps in the month of December if everyone is agreeable. The other option of
Mayor Pro Tem, I would actually be in favor of that. I know typically we have a shortened holiday schedule. We typically do either reschedule the one right before Thanksgiving or we just skip it all together. So I would be in favor of that. And to have one in December, early in the month, possibly, and then maybe one toward the end of the month as we prepare to transition everything over to the new commissioners would be my thought. Maybe not the one right at Christmas, but I do think we need 2 meetings in December to be able to transition smoothly once we know who the future commissioners are going to be.
And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, Councilor Holly.
I do like your suggestion about one meeting a month. Provided we've got a sworn clerk, is there a possibility that Ms. Chavez will be sworn in to her position?
I would have to discuss that more with her about whether she would like to be sworn. I don't know an answer to that currently.
Okay.
So, you know, if we were going to do 2 meetings, I would say the 17th of November and the 15th of December. And if that's agreeable with the council, I think that would work. Is that leaves the week of Christmas open. Could I get a motion for that? Or should I make a motion? Maybe I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that the next regular council meeting for November be scheduled at 6:30 p.m. on November 17th, and that the regularly scheduled meetings in December be scheduled at 6:30 p.m. for December the 15th.
Can you include no other meetings to be held?
We can include other meetings to be held unless there is a emergency or a need for something special. I can't imagine anything at this point, but that would be it for the regular sessions for sure. Is that adequate?
I would be agreeable to that, but I don't know that we can make that decision here since it's not on the agenda to be decided.
Well, calendar review is on the agenda, Counselor, so I think we can talk about that.
Okay.
So
I would second that.
There's a motion and a second. How shall we vote? Counselor Jaramillo?
Nay.
Counselor Holly?
I'm going to abstain since that's not an action item on the agenda.
But calendar review is, Counselor.
We generally don't have motions or votes taken during calendar review. It's just a review. So anyway, I abstain.
Okay. Okay. Counselor Abraham?
I vote aye.
And I'll vote aye. There's 2 for and 2 not. So I don't know how do you tally that one?
Dies for lack of majority.
No,
I It's
I don't
2
think so
for,
because you
2
abstained.
for, yeah, 2 for, 1 against, and 1 abstained. So I don't know.
So I believe that for this particular vote, since it's not an ordinance or resolution where we need 3 of the 4, that with the abstention and then the 2 voting is, more than the 1, right? I guess Ms. Nixon,
Well,
maybe you can
I guess
tell
it's
us
2
as
to
well.
1. What would your professional legal opinion be on this vote?
Counselors, this is kind of fly by the seat of my pants, but I would agree that a vote of 3 members of the governing body constitutes a quorum, and therefore a 2-1 vote is a valid majority. And the abstention is as if that member of the governing body was not voting. So I would tend to believe that this is a successful motion. And again, this is off the seat of my pants. So.
Okay, well, then we'll go with that. And our next regular council meeting will be November 17th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. And with that, I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second on the motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Thank you all. Have a very good evening.